All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. I'm going to talk to you about a topic that has nothing to do with money, but it's something that for me, just recently, more than ever, has become so important because I've realized what's going on. And I'm going to share with you probably one of the most relaxing things that you will ever do. And I hope you're ready for it. The most relaxing thing in the world that I think someone can possibly do. Now, for those that do this already, they're going to say, of course it is. I do it all the time. I can't believe you didn't know about it, Michael. And for me, I knew about it and we all know about it. But until we actually experience it, we don't really know about it. And it's something very simple. And I hope you're ready for it. But the most relaxing thing in the world that you can possibly do is keep your phone at home, or in another room, or somewhere away from you. Now, for me, I'm the type of person who my work, my life, my everything is on my phone. And these days we use our phone for everything. So from kids schooling to work to socializing, every single aspect of our lives, there's phones connected to it, right? There's technology. And over the weekend, I had a bit of an experience where I switched from Samsung, after 6 years of Samsung, to an iPhone. Now, for me, it was, if you want, I won't get into the reasons, but essentially I was just bored of Samsung and I just wanted something different. I still love Samsung, for the record, and I can talk about this all day, but this episode is not about Samsung versus Apple, but essentially I've switched to an iPhone. And by the way, I'm loving it so far. But while I was doing the transfer, I had to sync my WhatsApp messages and text messages through a special thing that they have. And it took a while. It took about 13, 14 hours. And I started late at night and it just kept going through. And then next morning we had to go to, we went to my brother's house because we are Orthodox Christians. So our Easter is different to the normal Catholic Easter. So anyway, we had our Easter family lunch together. And we essentially, I had to leave my phone at home. And essentially I was at my brother's house around my kids and family. And I was able to actually spend proper time with my kids, and it's hard to explain and it sounds really silly, but I didn't have a phone that kept going off every 5 minutes, where I wouldn't normally, when I'm with my family, I do normally stay away from my phone, but I'll still always come back to my notification. If I hear it ring, I'll quickly have a look. What if it's urgent? If I hear a particular type of notification, I'll quickly have a look in case there's something I need to quickly address or look at. Either way, essentially, the phone, in a way, was setting traps for me mentally. It's like a trap where it's like it tempts you to sort of just look at it for a second and you're sort of stuck in it, and suddenly you're out of the moment, you're in something else. And I did a lot of research on this, and there's people all over the world that have actually let go of their iPhones or their smartphones and essentially gone back to one of an old Nokia style of phone. Like, it's still a new phone. The old Nokias don't work anymore, but it's a type of phone that doesn't have a color screen and doesn't have a camera and all these things. And what a lot of people, if not 100% of those people, have actually identified is that it made them a lot more present in the moment because there were less distractions. There were less of these traps taking us away from things. Another big one was improved sleep. So they had better sleep because first of all, their eyes weren't constantly subjected to blue light. So there's a lot of psychological effects associated with blue light. And, because having blue light on the screen, basically there's a whole neurological thing about it, but it produces something called melatonin. It impacts the production of melatonin and delays sleep because essentially the eyes, when they see blue, they sort of feel like it's daytime, if that makes sense. And the body just isn't naturally tired and you don't get good quality sleep. Haven't really explained that scientifically, but you know what I mean. The other thing as well is they're not so concerned about everything that's going on in the world, so they're a bit more relaxed and they're lower levels of anxiety. Because in the world, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening at the moment. And when they weren't continually subjected to things like that, there was less stress and anxiety. Another big one is deepened connections. So as I said, like I always play with my kids. I love playing with my kids, and I love spending time with my wife. But when I do those things, I usually ignore my phone. But at the same time, it's always got part of my attention, whether it's 1% of my attention or 10% or 20% or even 50% of my attention. Whether I like it or not, my attention is there somewhere. Not having my phone with me, in fact, not having it in the same building, was a game changer because I was able to literally not even have to give my attention to my phone because it's not even there. There were times I thought about it and I started getting a bit stressed out, thinking, oh my God, my phone's not with me. But it was okay. And it was one of those things where I was able to just not worry about it and just spend time with the people that I love. Another big one is productivity and learning. Now, there's a lot of research on this as well, but having phones and being subjected to the media, to videos, to reels, to social media, to the news, to what people are doing, to notifications and everything, it really affects your productivity because when you're trying to work, for example, or trying to get things done, there's procrastination, there's distractions, there's everything, and there's that trap that I was talking about where you just sort of look at something and you start looking at it, and phones and social media are designed to get our attention. I watched a documentary a few years ago about the fact that we are the product that social media companies are selling. They're selling us, they're selling our data, they're selling us, and their customer is advertising companies, and by us constantly being on it, they're making money. So the social media companies, their job is to essentially keep us on social media, where they'll send us particular notifications at different times of the day. They'll if they hear you talking about something, they'll show you ads for that particular thing. If they can see that you haven't been on in a while, they'll send you a notification for a reel to watch. Like all these random things where once you understand the pattern, it makes you aware of what's going on. The other thing is just breaking the habit. Like when you don't have notifications all the time, if you don't have notifications constantly trying to grab your attention, you just naturally get out of that habit because you learn to control things. You learn to just be a better person and just focus on you and the things that really matter in your life. In this podcast, I always talk about, the whole point of money and dealing with money so that you can manage it better, so that you can make better financial decisions, so that you can focus on the things that you love. And when I talk about the things you love, usually that's family. It could be a hobby, it could be something, but it's obviously not money. There's always something else. And by doing this thing that I was talking about and just taking times out in the week where you just literally do not have your phone with you, have it in a different room. If you can't turn it off for whatever reason, whether it's for work reasons or just put it somewhere else, put it in a different room. Don't look at it for a period of time. And if you leave the house, as long as someone else has a phone, just leave your phone at home and just try that. Because what you'll find, it's going to improve your physical health, because you're going to be more likely to do things and to be out and about. You're going to free up more time to be playing and exploring and spending time with kids and family and friends. You'll make a lot more social connections because you're going to be out with people, talking to them, giving them your attention and giving your environment your attention instead of your phone. It boosts your mood because, as I said, you're not so depressed. You're not feeling so anxious. You're not, you're still going to probably feel depressed and anxious. I'm not saying it's going to prevent that, but it's going to probably reduce some of that because you're not having to constantly look down and look at what's going on in the world and comparing yourself with the Joneses and whatever, because you're in the moment and you're just caring about yourself and what's around you at that time. It helps build community, and it just essentially helps you just be more connected with people in the way we should be connected, which is physically, which is the old school way of just being around friends and being social and building relationships, because that's what's going to help us, not our phones. I love our phones. I still love my phone. And I love technology, but it's about measuring that and controlling it and having measured levels of exposure to screen time. So this topic isn't a new topic. I'm sorry, there's no magic formula. It's, it is what I've explained it. It's just one of the, I haven't done it. To be honest with you, I don't think I have ever, since having a phone, I don't think I've ever not had a phone with me. Ever. It's always been in my pocket. Even if it's off, it's always been in my pocket. And not having it with me and being out of the house without a phone was such a relaxing feeling. I almost feel like it just sounds ridiculous talking about it, but I had to record an episode on it. I had to talk about it because I'm hoping that you'll get something out of it, and I give you the challenge to do that. As long as you have someone else with you that has a phone, for safety reasons, of course, leave your phone at home for a day, for half a day, and go out. Park, friend's house, go for a walk, something. Do not have your phone with you, and just see the impact it's going to have. And send me a message, contact me. Let me know how it goes. I love to hear these stories. Because at least that way I'll know I'm not the only one that's going crazy, and that what I'm talking about is actually a thing. So please do that. And hopefully if you do that, you'll focus a lot better. You'll care about what's going on around you a lot better. And then you can hopefully eventually make better decisions for you and your family so that you can focus on the things that you love. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.